Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is Friday, July 31st, and we're over here by the Forge of the Gods because I came over to check on my milestones, and it looks like I can in fact finally, at least from a point standpoint, upgrade to the second ring. I think I have enough star fuel as well, but I literally just discovered this, so I didn't attempt to build the second ring. I do have the second ring available. It's just been kind of sitting over there. I actually constructed it once before, but took it off because the machine wouldn't run with it on there. It's right over here. Actually, there's a QFT in here as well that I forgot that I crafted. That's kind of funny. But yeah, it's over here. And then from here to here are what are the items needed for the upgrade as well. So after I'm done recording and uploading this, I'll probably throw the second ring on there. Now, real quick, basically didn't get too much done the last couple days. That's why I didn't make a video yesterday. But over here with the antimatter, which is where we left off, I had constructed this guy, and then since then I've been kind of playing with it, letting it build up. So I will say at a couple points I've messed up this thing for a couple different reasons, which I'll go over, and wiped out a bunch of antimatter. But this guy over here has been running just fine. This one's real straightforward. Like I said, you just got two regulator hatches tied to the same redstone signal that just input at the same rate, and simple as that. And then just little fluid detector covers just to make sure there's actually fluid available before starting the recipe. And yeah, these guys, however, are running for the most part fine. They're just a little more finicky. So if you watch it here, it always, well, okay. So this one's turned off actually. So we'll go over here. It always inputs the correct amount, but then it just randomly, it feels like there's some sort of desync that they don't quite line up at the same time. So sometimes I'm losing antimatter, sometimes I'm gaining. I mean, I do net gain. It's just that it doesn't seem to work quite as smoothly as this guy over here. Now, the reason I have this one off was because I had originally upped the power on this to be able to process bigger recipes. Like you can see on here, I was going to start importing 1280 or 12,800, I should say, which is the ideal amount if you're not using antimatter or space time, which both of those have been a consistent problem for me here a little bit, or not antimatter, depleted Mark V fuel. So I got that. I just assumed I threw those two into the calculator without it, and 1280 is the ideal amount. However, need to upgrade the amount of power, so I did throw a 65 amp UMV hatch on here, and I hooked up to the battery that's feeding this guy. However, this guy is not quite, because I have a UHV capacitor in here. The way it works out is it was running fine, but there's a chance it's gonna go empty, power fail this, and then I'll lose a bunch of antimatter, which has already happened to me. So I just have it shut off right now. Currently, I'm in the process of crafting my first UIV capacitor, which will be more than enough to handle all three of these guys running at over at the 65,000 amps of UMV by itself. So it should be good. It's just taking a little bit to craft because I've been crafting a bunch of big stuff. I will say, definitely make sure you choose where you want these to land before you turn them on, because once you turn them on, there's actually a block in the middle of this blue sphere here that does not, you can't move this or destroy it or do anything about it, and it just keeps this around forever. I originally actually placed this about 8 blocks closer over here, and then I was like, wait, I meant to put a path there and have a little more feng shui, and it that was like, okay, I'll just move it. And then I couldn't move it, and I was stuck with this object here. I couldn't delete, not with the Vajra, not with the matter manipulator, not with the world breaker. So I ended up resetting the server just to move this guy over slightly, then place this guy right here. And yeah, they've been running pretty smooth. You see, I'm still kind of at a net negative of power. When I started constructing these two, I was at 5 point some change e to the 19. So I've actually used 1 to the power of 19 worth of power in the negative since starting this whole process. But a lot of that's specifically coming from the Forge of the Gods and the big crafts I've been doing. Before I get to the big crafts, though, I do want to come over here. So because I started using those and using space-time, I ran out of space-time, which then presented a problem with this guy. So if you don't know, you basically use space-time to keep this thing running. And if it runs out of space-time, it's not, this thing's like automation's goofy. But if it runs out of space-time, then the black hole collapses. Recipes keep getting inserted because from the logic of the system in here, it thinks everything's running fine. All your items get voided, and it's no good. So on the outside here, you can see I'm no longer using a stocking input hatch. I've got a buffer hatch here, and then a fluid regulator. Now, I did for the timer that I've got going, I did put the regulator at the average of that just to keep it running. Now, the thing is, not quite perfect, and I'm sure there's excess space-time in there because of the way that works out, but I'd rather do it that way where I waste a little more space-time and not fail recipes, because that is really frustrating. On the inside, I added, basically just changed the logic to add in accounting for whether there's space-time up there in the buffer tank or not, and then everything else down here is still the same. And on the outside, added this guy, which is the RS latch for the space-time tank, because I didn't want it to be a case where as soon as it fills up with space-time, it like keeps toggling back and forth. So I did set up a little mini RS latch, and then this guy right here sends the signal in there to say, yep, you're good to go. Now, Fred there, on the side of crafting and setting up all the antimatter, the other goal I wanted to work towards was the Eye of Harmony. Now, I was going to make one big craft, and you can even see if I come in here and type in Harmony, I've actually got this thing that I could craft that crafts everything for the entire multi-block structure with the exception of the controller. Only because if you look right there, I've actually crafted the Eye of Harmony. I just am still missing some structural blocks. Can't set it up. Actually, here, let's see. This should give me a quest reward. Boom. Maybe not. I would have figured that would have been a quest, because it's in here. Unless it's who wants something from it back. Oh, it needs one of all this. That's clever. But so instead, I created one big recipe to craft all these structural blocks. What I was finding was happening, though, is all comes down to that condensate hatch I keep complaining about over there. It's still giving me problems. So I broke up the recipe to get at least some of the stuff going into 6 parts, which we can see up here on the left. I've knocked out the main structure and the secondary structure blocks, as well as these two right here. The only thing I have left now are these 2 blocks, which these two, the crude stabilization and crude time dilution field generator, both those use a lot of recipes over in the condensate hatch area, or in the condensate line area, and just causing problems. But I'm working my way through it. I expect I'll actually have the Eye of Harmony crafted and set up this weekend, whether it's working or not. One of the things I did that did seem to help a decent amount, but there's still issues, is I bumped all the smaller pieces recipes up to just being bulk ones of 64. That seems to eliminate some of the issues. I've had a couple still fail since then. Like, I know at least 11 of these guys failed and lost all the parts for them, so that's kind of crappy because I don't remember how expensive they are, but basically at least 11 UXV circuits on top of all the super dense and all the stuff, a lot of stuff that goes into them. But it's whatever. No. So working on pushing through to make the iHarmony. And then on top of that, I did near the end of the day today start actually going back to upgrading hatches. For example, all of my recipes were kind of like being hung up on Shirobon foil and stuff like that. So just working on that. So yeah, it's a little bit shorter of a video. Like I said, it wasn't too much progress, just kind of pushing along, making things bigger. Once I have that, the immediate plans for the future will be once I have that UIV capacitor, turn that antimatter sequencer back on over here so I can bump the amount of power that this guy's producing up, and then also bump up the hatches to go along with that and really amp up the antimatter production. Finish up the Eye of Harmony, figure out where in the world I'm going to stick that thing. I have not decided yet. And I know I'll have many of them, so I kind of want to choose an area where I'm going to be able to throw down a bunch of them. I might end up just coming out in the desert and just doing a wall of them. I don't know yet. And yeah, just other little miscellaneous stuff. I probably need to craft more forges because space time is a struggle at the moment. And just, yeah, kind of go from there. But I hope everybody had a good day and has a good weekend. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.